Welcome to the Tailoring Talk Show with me, your host, Roberto Revilla. I'm a bespoke tailor, menswear designer and owner of Roberto Revilla London Suit and Shirt Makers. This is the podcast where you drop in for the threads, but often leave with something quite unexpected. If you haven't already, please support the show by subscribing, and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please help me out by leaving a rating and a review. Today I have a little eavesdrop episode for you. Recorded in Seymour Place at the tip of London's Mayfair, Richard Gore, who regular listeners will recognise as a good friend and client of mine, was visiting London one hot and sunny Saturday in July, and we made a day of it together. Just two friends, aka a tailor and his client, having a drink in the sun, shooting the breeze. Greatest Bond themes, The Godfather, and why the suit went from being a daily staple are among the things we talked about. Enjoy.
I bet. And sometimes you did gigs where sometimes it was just standard, it was alright but nothing happened. Others it was horrible. But then every now and then you do it and you just play one song and it would work. Just straight away. I often used to ask like matron of honour, was there a song on your hen night? Was there something that you got up and danced on the tables to? Because I'll play that. And then after that, all the bridesmaids love you and the bride loves you, and that doesn't matter if nobody else does, because she does, and that's all that counts.
Yeah.
It was so good.
So I was thinking about our little text message exchange the other day where, you asked me if it was premature to tell you what my top 3 Bond songs of all time were, and it is so damn hard because, on the way down I was listening to that playlist and the song that came on just as I came across the border into Marylebone on a Vespa was Diamonds Are Forever.
Yep.
And that song is just incredible. I don't know what the film's like because I haven't seen it yet, obviously. That's next weekend. But the way that it starts, and then the bass guitar kicks in, there's just so much gravity and emotion.
Yeah.
And it's just like having, had the ending that we had to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, listening to that song detached from the film makes my imagination anyway just run wild. Like, this could be an absolute cold-blooded revenge thriller, whatever. I'm probably not going to get that.
Not with Roger Moore.
Well, no, it's not. It's Sean Connery, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I kind of almost am wondering about swapping out Duran Duran for that instead.
Yes, you should. You absolutely should. You very nearly got. You very nearly got, instead of, well, these are my top 3. No, you're wrong.
It's very hard though.
It's hard to pick the best 3, yes.
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting.
Not hard to pick the worst 3, and Duran Duran would probably be in that worst 3.
Okay,
I'm a big 80s fan.
I really like that song. That and the Aha one.
Aha is brilliant.
Aha.
But then Aha are brilliant. Full song. Something which shines on TV.
But I mean, forget about the choice of song. It was interesting that out of 3, we both picked 2 Roger Moore era songs. But it is very, very hard. I think I'd rather be asked what's your top 10. That would be easier because then I wouldn't have to leave things out.
Yeah.
But then there's a really underrated song that I forgot about that was on the soundtrack to Tomorrow Never Dies by K.D. Lang called Surrender.
Okay.
Which is very underrated.
Yeah.
Very underrated.
Of course, it has the problem of not being the theme. So people often, it doesn't get included on records and stuff like that.
Well, I think, the only place you'll find it is on the actual full film soundtrack.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I need to look at, we'll look into it when we get to that film in 3 years' time or whatever. I really want to step it up to 2 a month, but anyway. But I don't know, because obviously the theme for that song was the Sheryl Crow song.
Yep.
Which, as much as I love Sheryl Crow, that song was maybe slightly awkward.
Yep.
Not as awkward as Madonna's.
See, I like Madonna's one. It's not the best, but I like it.
I think it works when you're watching the credits.
Yes.
The opening credits
Yes.
and everything, all the torture and stuff that he's going through.
Yes.
But in isolation, it's a little bit...
No, as a standalone song, it's not that great.
No.
And that's why when I messaged you, I said, what are your favourite songs? Not necessarily the best themes, because, for instance, I think Skyfall is probably the best Bond theme there has ever been. Well, that's not fair because it came with so much history, but it ties in beautifully with things like Goldfinger. It's got that atmosphere, it's theatrical, it's big. It could almost be a Jim Steinman track because it's that big. And I think it works great as a Bond theme, but it's not my favourite song. I love it because it reminds me of the film, and I still love Skyfall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Skyfall's a fantastic theme, but it's not my favourite song.
See, I would then, if we're going down that line of conversation, I would put Billie Eilish's No Time to Die up there, because you take her age, her and her brother, what they did with that song.
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been. I think I heard an interview with her where I think initially when they were sort of given the brief, it was a bit intimidating and daunting.
Yeah.
But if you listen to that song layer by layer, you can really see the amount of research and attention to detail that went in, and the respect for the entire franchise that had gone before, and the back catalogue of songs that have gone before.
Yeah.
Because there are just little themes of, I mean, there's everything in there. There's Diamonds Are Forever, there's the original Monty Norman theme, there's absolutely everything.
Who's just died?
I know.
Yeah. No, that's right, you told me. Yeah. Tell you who else has just died, and moving away from Bond ever so slightly, and that's James Cain, who played... James Caan, who played...
Not the Dragon's Den guy.
No. Sonny Corleone, and more to the point, the dad in Elf.
Yeah, I know, I was about to say, Sonny Corleone, forget that, Elf's dad.
Yeah, that's right.
Buddy's dad.
In which he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And just channeled some of Corleone in there. But I rewatched Godfather after reading the book, and there's so much that's missed out of the film, because I mean, first two films you have to watch to get most of the book, and there's still a whole load of stuff that's missed out.
So the Godfather, the novel, is that the 3 films put together?
No, it's the 2 films.
It's the 2.
Because the third one is not the book at all. But there's so much that goes, and it's not.
When does Marlon Brando's character die? Is it at the end of the second one? When he sort of falls down, is it at the end of the first one?
It's the end of the first one, and then Michael takes over.
And then Michael dies at the end of the third one.
Yeah.
Because he dies on the bench in the sort of vineyard or whatever it is in Italy.
But that isn't in the book. There's so much that goes on in the book that's alluded to in the film. And when I rewatch it, I get a better appreciation of James Caan's acting, because he is able to get those references that are in the book. When you watch the film, it looks like he's read the book to know why he's doing the acting that he's doing, even though that's not then later referenced in the film. It's an amazing book.
Yeah.
I've read it once, but it's just fantastic. And there's so much stuff that was real life, like Johnny Fontaine, the singer, is Sinatra. Sinatra got up in the middle of a restaurant and punched Mario Puzo because he recognised himself in the book.
Oh, wow.
It's a fantastic story.
By the way, you haven't been to Christie's yet, have you?
No, haven't been to Christie's.
Is that still on your sort of list of things to do
today?
today?
As I say, I'm easy.
I'm thinking, when I was younger, did I tell you I used to wear a hat? like a Frank Sinatra style.
You were the guy in the hat.
I was the guy in the hat, yeah.
Yeah.
3-piece suit, and I used to wear it with attitude, you know, that little tilt.
I've started doing that with my trilby now.
Yeah.
I like my trilby. It's too hot to wear my trilby now. But I picked up a Panama off the street market in Malta, and it was €10, and it did the job. In fact, there's a great picture of me lying on a boat in one of your linen shirts with my Panama on, and I went, actually, yes, it's just a 10 quid hat that I picked up at the market. That looks really nice. It didn't survive the trip back home in the suitcase, but I fancy a Panama.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any hair, and when my head burns, it just makes the whole of me hot. So yeah, a hat's a good idea.
Yeah.
And they're class.
Exactly.
So cool.
And also, not, you know, people just don't wear them anymore.
No.
So, you know, someone's got to, you know, try and inspire someone else.
Yeah.
It is really, really hot today, but I don't even
so
know.
hot.
So you're wearing linen, so you're
Yeah.
fabric appropriate, and I'm not wearing linen because my linen stuff's not really ready. Also, I ripped the back of my tan linen jacket on my Brompton. It's got like the centre back seam. It's not completely torn, but it's just pulled enough.
Yeah.
So I need to get it taken in.
Yeah,
to
I was going to say that's
sort of hide the damage, but I couldn't wear that today because I knew that you were going to be wearing one of mine, and
yes, that would be a bit matchy.
I needed to be on a par, but you know, even in this grey flannel, it's really lightweight.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I mean, my
Gourmet,
no,
Rhino,
the other
the Barbarous.
I do notice the difference in weight between the two.
Oh, those things are like feathers.
They are. And yes, I wear it with a waistcoat most of the time because I wear a waistcoat when I'm working. That's my that's how I step up the smartness for work, is put my waistcoat on, wear my pocket watch, and then weekends I'll just drop the waistcoat. But that means I can still wear a tie.
Yeah.
And they're amazing. You notice it with the trousers more than anything, because especially these. And when I'm walking along, yes, if I'm sitting down and the sun's my back, yes, I'll get hot. But the second there's a breeze, and because of the open weave of the fabric, I just feel the breeze straight away, and I'm like,
it's like air conditioning.
yeah, it's amazing. I absolutely love my linens. I really do. In fact, dinner suit, that'll take us probably until the end of this year, and then we can start looking at another linen one ready for the next summer, because I need to wear them more often.
Oh,
And I need another 5 linen shirts, because in the summer they're perfect.
Yeah.
And wash them a couple of times, and they're so soft, and they look beautiful for at least 10 minutes after I've put them on, because the crease is razor sharp, and then it falls out, and but it's a bit like we had a conversation a while ago about old money and how a patched barber says that you have more money than a brand new barber, and it's a bit the same with my linen, I think, in that actually that slightly crumpled look is exactly what you should be getting it for. It doesn't have to be razor sharp creases and perfect spot. It shows that you're comfortable in it, and that it's not something, and that you're wearing it rather than the suit wearing you.
Exactly. That's it. You've got a new fan, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, one of my Instagram followers messaged to say that he'd listened to your episode.
Okay.
And he absolutely loved it.
Oh, great.
And that's also, I think, made him a fan of the podcast as well.
Brilliant.
But I think yours was the first one that he heard, so
yes.
There you go. Well done. He hasn't heard you on the Bond one yet, but
I'll probably turn people off. What's he talking about? The best film? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Has he seen any of the others? It's on a Majesty's Secret Service. It's just the theme's perfect. Diana Rigger's perfect. He gets married. You find out the world is not enough. You know, I love Lazenby's Bob. I think he could have been one of the greats.
You find out that Chinese girls only eat rice and Indian girls only eat chapatis and black girls only eat bananas. I mean, oh my god.
Yeah.
Really? I think I'd like a supercut of that film just without those bits and the psychedelic stuff as well, and then it would actually be a fantastic, for me it would be a fantastic Bond film.
Yes. As I say, the only thing for me that's missing from it, and yes, I agree, you can take that bit out, but the only thing that's missing from it is a fight on the train.
Yes.
I'm baffled with this, I have no idea about that. My dad was involved in when he was in uni because he went to City, and we got into London, and he went, and we'd left before my mum got home from work, and he went, "Mum hasn't got any keys." Rang the house, no answer, and he went, "She's locked out," and this was Saturday morning, so it was the first night of working nights of 3 nights that weekend. Like, we got to go home and let her in. So we came all the way back home again. In the meantime, my mum had rang my auntie who lives in Swindon, and my auntie had driven from Swindon, picked up my mum, driven her home again, and then drove her back to Newport. But so for me, going by train always meant going somewhere. You know, it was always exciting.
Yeah.
Going over on the ferry to the Isle of Wight, because my dad would take us out so my mum could sleep, and it was always by train.
For me, going on long distance train journeys, especially when I've got luggage with me and stuff, I take on a different, more sophisticated persona than I really have. But it's probably partly because I grew up on a diet of of Bond films where he was always on a train.
He was always on a train.
We're trying to be ready for action just in case George did kind of pop
that's
up,
right.
You know.
Talking of which, I walked past Swain Adney. They're in Burlington Arcade now. They don't have prices on their stuff, so that shows how expensive they are.
Yeah, I still need to go to Enfield for the No Time to Die military outfit, but
there's somewhere that James is going to take us to. And I thought of you as soon as James recommended it to me, because I think I told him that I was doing the Bond podcast with you. And he went, "Rich, I'll take you to," and it's a hotel where Fleming invented the Vesper Martini. And he went, "And you only have one, unless you have just remortgaged." He went, "But it's an experience." He went, "And they come out to you and make the martini in front of you." He went,
so where, do you know where it is?
No, I can't remember the name.
Oh, okay.
He did tell me.
We could probably Google it.
That's not as exciting.
Why do you think, because again, you've got me on this whole sort of, you can wear a suit 7 days a week.
Okay.
But, which is something that, you know, in the era, you think back to the old sort of great movie stars like Cary Grant and so on, you know, they seem to wear a suit pretty much all the time, like 24/7. But why do you think we lost that? Because I remember when I recorded with another tailor early in the podcast that, you know, he was saying the problem was in the early 70s with the advent of, you know, the introduction of technical fabrics and sportswear, and that's where it all started to kind of go downhill. But I don't know if it's actually more in the sort of mentality of people, or did tailoring become less affordable because obviously it was more affordable back in the day. I don't know where it all just...
I think it's a combination of lots of things.
Because I'm sitting here and people say, oh, I'm not going to wear a suit at the weekend. Are you absolutely crazy? It's not comfortable. And I'm like, it's probably not comfortable because everybody likes their stuff super fitted and stuff. But I'm sitting here in high-waisted single-pleat trousers. My jacket's cut like a Connery suit, and I feel more comfortable in this than I do if I was in jeans and a t-shirt. And I'm not just saying that it's because of what I do. I mean, I make my own jeans anyway. Yeah. But I don't know. I just feel maybe it's because of the way the suit flatters and so on. I can't really feel it on anyway, and I'm wearing braces.
Yeah. I need more braces.
By the way, I'm wearing one of the perennial tech shirts that you love so much. I'm wearing the ones with the two-way stretch on the other side of the folder.
Yep.
Oh my god, these are my favourite, and it took me about 30 seconds to iron it. But look, this is not. It looks like it's come out of the packet, right?
Yeah.
No, it hasn't. I've worn this so many times.
I love them. And yeah, basically, if you think, oh, it's Christmas or whatever, or if any second that you think, I think we should make Rich a shirt, just pick one that I haven't already got. It doesn't really matter. Even if it's a style that I go, not sure about that, I'll work out a way to fit it into my wardrobe, and I might not wear it as much as my others, but it'll get worn.
Yeah.
In terms of people not wearing stuff, there's been lots of stuff. Gentleman's Gazette, I don't know if you've seen any of their stuff on YouTube. There's a guy called Raphael Schneider who's German but lives in America. And they do lots of stuff about when did men stop wearing ties, when did men stop wearing... And it's all basically the same question of when did we stop dressing up. What is now considered dressing up, but in the day was just called getting dressed.
Yeah.
And one of the things they mentioned was 60s and the Cultural Revolution that happened in the 60s. And so up until that point, everybody wore a suit. And that meant that in the 60s, everybody in power wore a suit. So you rebel against the establishment.
So it's almost like an anarchic kind of finger up to the establishment.
By wearing jeans and things like that. And then the other thing that I think happened, well, everybody blames JFK for the demise of the hat, saying, oh, he didn't wear one at his inauguration. He did. And the guy who went in, who was president before him, wore one as well because JFK was wearing one. But I don't know, I think Burton's have probably got something to do with it, because you're quite right in that proper tailoring, before Burton's, everybody had to go to a proper tailor to get measured. And because there were lots of customers, it was cheap. Then Burton's came in and brought ready to wear and off the rack. But off the rack suits don't fit as well, and they're not as good quality necessarily. You can get. I mean, you can buy Barberis fabric off the rack suits. So yeah, you can buy great cloth, but they won't fit that great because they're made to an average.
Yeah, they're made for you.
That's right. So bespoke tailoring became more expensive because there are fewer customers, and it became more niche. And then, as people bought off the rack suits, it was still a case of, but then they're not fitting properly, so then they're not as comfortable, and they're using probably cheaper fabrics.
Yeah.
And then you get this idea that.
Thank you so much for eavesdropping in on Richard and I this episode. Don't forget that Tailoring Talk is now on Instagram at Tailoring Talk Podcast. And you know I love feedback, so you can also email the show directly at tailoringtalkpodcast@gmail.com. Please remember to subscribe, rate and review. You can also click the share button in your player to send the show on to people you know. If you're enjoying Tailoring Talk and feel compelled to throw some change our way and support the show, you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Roberto Revilla. Have a great week, and I'll see you on the next one.